So the agenda here is I will go through a brief introduction from a company overview, so you get to know Coupa a bit. Then Rusty now will take over with the demo, and then we'll have a Q&A. So we're allocated about 45 minutes for this session. So the PowerPoint, I'll breeze through it so we don't waste too much time there. If you have any business questions, we can revisit those at a later time. But the focus here is really to get you to look at the platform and its power. So again, my name is Omar Sari. I'm a Director of Partner Sales here at Coupa. And with me, I have Rusty now. Rusty will introduce himself in a bit when he takes over. He's a senior solution consultant that works with the Alliances team. So Rusty and I, we're part of the channel and Alliances team. Our mission, so you can see it in the middle there, is really deliver software innovation that breeds responsible spending while impacting the company bottom line. So what it means is really we want to be able to show that visibility in all that spend that is the non-direct spend, non-payroll spend. And we want you to be able to have the control to manage the spending, to make an impact ultimately on the bottom line of the company. So from a Coupa standpoint, we're headquartered out of San Mateo, California, with offices in Chicago, Reno, and we've got a London office that manages our European, EMEA region. We've seen some significant growth in the last 6 years, 120%, 100% in employee growth, and 100% in growth in Coupa users. And here you can see that basically from a usability standpoint, we see about 88% of spend is under management. Basically all the non-direct spend through the platform, we capture about 88% of it with Coupa. This is based on our customers and the successes they see using the platform. And on average out there, most companies, they see only about 40–50% of that visibility into their non-direct spend. From a platform standpoint, we are a pure cloud platform, and we basically see on average, well, we see about 99.99% in uptime. So basically, we're up, and the only percentage, 0.01% of downtime, is when we do updates. From a new renewal rate, it's a recurring service, yearly recurring service, and the fact that we have 90%, 97% renewal rate, it just shows the how successful our customers are, how successful they are using Coupa, and therefore, if they are successful, they will renew. From a implementation standpoint, on average, we implement in about 2.5 months. In some cases, we were able to deploy the platform within a couple of weeks, depending on the requirements. So that time to value and to use the platform successfully and manage that the spend is quick. So you will see a very rapid return on investment. And we've got about 300 plus successful customers, and we are growing rapidly. Here it just shows a momentum since Q1 of 2010 of some of the customers and successful customers using the platform. Again, companies from Subway, Orbit, Michael's, McDonald's, etc. But we've got a large breadth of customer profiles from small organizations all the way to billion-dollar enterprise customers. Just a quick highlight here on our last quarter, Q4. We were able to sign customers such as Joanne, the Spotify, Conway, Square, Ace. So a lot of these customers see really true value in using Coupa. So why do really customers choose us? Because we are able to capture that spend immediately. We deploy the platform is deployed within 2.5 months. You're able to see the visibility of that spend, and you can control it. Oops, sorry about that. And then from a compliance standpoint, we comply with all the internal compliance that you are set up for within the company. So when you have that compliance, you are able to control the spend, and all the resources, all the employees basically will refer to that compliance as they use the platform. Again, it's it's an end-to-end platform from a procurement and expense standpoint, and from a time to value, again, we can be deployed within weeks or on average 2.5 months. So really, that return in investment is quick, and you can basically start capturing that spend and controlling it, and basically having that impact on the bottom line. And then from a mobility standpoint, we work with all the mobile devices out there, from the iPad, the iPhone, etc. So again, it is a completely web-based, cloud-based platform. So if you have access to a browser, that's all you need to launch Coupa. And also, again, it works with all the major devices there, from your iPhones or BlackBerry, iPad, etc. So one really differentiator here, it's really an enterprise application, but one key takeaway here, it's ease of use. So that adoption is very high when it is deployed, because it has the look and feel of something that you see out there while you shop over the web with Amazon, for example. So that interface is really intuitive. It's very clean, it's very clear, and it's easy to use. So when we deploy it, that period between a successful deployment and really having that adoption is really low, because it takes little time for the employees to be trained on the platform. And also you have all that visibility from a management standpoint. As you capture that spend, you can control it immediately. Gartner ranked us #1 in our space. We do have a government report that you can refer to, and you can see. We would be happy to give you a copy. And basically, Gartner is really the go-to and the standard when it comes to judging all the different applications out there from a procurement and expense standpoint. So they ranked us #1 in the space. And why? Because of the ease of use, the time to value, the technology, the platform itself, and our customers are really successful deploying it. One reason really here from a culture standpoint with Coupa, the focus is not sort of just satisfying customers. we want to make sure that our customers are successful using Coupa. So that impact on the bottom line really sticks to that, because we're not just looking to satisfy a customer by using Coupa or filling just a need. We want them to be successful. And that's part of the culture, and that's what the platform is focused on. So we have different analyst validations here out there from Forbes or CFO magazines. So we got Spend Matters. I will let you read the code there, or from Forrester. So the outside third-party analysts, they are and still always validating the power of Coupa and its differentiator in the marketplace. We got successful customers from Subway, Rent-A-Center, and Salesforce. From a Subway standpoint, they used it, or they're using it all over their franchises, and the bottom line here is that they wanted to be able to allow their franchises to really use Coupa, drive that visibility on the stand, and also to ensure that they capture all the savings that they negotiate to operate their stores more efficiently. So someone like Salesforce, really the key value here is the fact that it's cloud-based, and then the fact that the CPO, the Chief Procurement Officer of Salesforce, is able to either reject many transactions just over his mobile device. So they see the power of the cloud and also the power of the mobility of the platform to be used with all the mobile devices. And from the Container Store, basically you can see here really no training required. So from the implementation to driving the adoption, the time frame was pretty much known. They were able to use it pretty much right away. All right, so that's just a brief overview of the company. And Rusty, are you on?
Absolutely, Omar. How you doing?
Oh, very good, thanks. So
can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you just perfectly. So you guys, that was just a brief intro into Coupa itself as a company. So Rusty is going to take it from here with the demo. So it's all yours, Rusty.
Okay, are you seeing my screen yet? Let's see, share my webcam? No, we don't want you to see me, that's for sure. Well, my name is Rusty Nail, and I'm a Director of Solution Consulting for Alliances, and I help you make money. So I want to be your friend because you help me make money, so it's a mutual agreement there. And what we want to do today is just give you a quick overview of the application itself. And my job at Coupa is to really empower you to be able to position Coupa in your opportunities. And also this is an opportunity for us to understand what you guys do and how you're going to play. And that's basically between you and Omar. But my job today is to show you the application and show you the benefit as quick as I can in this process. And we're going to start off looking at the screen that comes up. And I'm signed on as an admin person. And what you're going to notice right off the bat is it's not your typical ERP financial accounting type system. I spent 15 years implementing ERP systems like Oracle, SAP, JD Edwards, Lawson, PeopleSoft, and they're very back office transactional things. And the people that wrote this, that came from iProcure, and what they wanted to do was really create, instead of a back office transactional iProcure SAP type of experience, what they wanted to do was create an e-commerce type of experience and really focus on the end user. The end result of that is what you're looking at here, and we've had great success into the market, and people are really taking hold of this to put it on front of SAP, on front of Oracle and these different systems, simply because it has a great user interface, it's easy to interact, but more importantly, it's easy to manage from a procurement standpoint, and it lays over the top of just about any ERP financial system to a procure-to-pay, procure-to-order, source-to-pay type of model. So let's go ahead and dive into the application. What kind of time do we have here, Omar? We got like, what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? What do we got?
We've got more about, 25 to half hour.
Okay, let's see if we can cram this into 25 minutes, because I literally did a demo, an international demo this morning that lasted 3 hours. So we've got a lot of stuff here, and this screen right here, again, is where it all starts from the user. Now, I'm actually signed on as an admin, and the screen is exactly the same for a user as it is an admin. The only difference is you'll see at the top the menu bar that I'll have more access to more items. So if I sign on as just a user, I may only see the home screen or the expenses. The next thing you'll see, every user has the same interface, is you'll see the Coupa patented super bar that asks the simple question, what do you need? At this point, I can search just like I'm on Google by keying in a search term or multiple search terms, and it's going to present me with a catalog of items. These catalog of items can come from any source, such as a supplier, the Coupa supplier network. I can key these in myself. If I have my own catalog, I can upload them through a flat file process. So again, Coupa does not require any integrations, but it really starts to sing when we sync it up with your ERP and financial systems so that we don't have to duplicate that data. We can be that front end to those systems. So what we're doing here is we're searching a catalog, we're seeing those results, very familiar to users, so it's very easy to learn. Most users do not need any training to make this work, as it works just like they would be on Amazon or any other type of e-commerce site. I can search and sort the results A to Z, Z to A, just like I would on an e-commerce site. I can drill into the data by looking at the detail information here. By clicking on the detail item and looking at detail information, I can see employee reviews. I can drill down in any additional data that I may capture from an item master standpoint. I can also utilize multiple suppliers for the same item. So again, that interface, very strong, being able to search, sort, and find what you need. If you can't find it by search terms, we also offer the ability, like a commodity category type of search like you would on Amazon. I can simply select items or services from a category. It doesn't have to be items, it could be services. I can come out here and specify labor. I can have rate cards put into it, where I can select specific rate cards. If I don't find what I'm looking for here in a category, I can proactively suggest things like policies, web forms, and preferred vendors to influence buyers to buy from contracted suppliers. So again, we really want to promote responsible spending in this environment and remove the complexity to comply against contracts. Very important. So what if we don't have it in the catalog? Maybe we're a company that starts off with no catalogs and everything is a free form. We can absolutely do that. We can start off with no items in the catalog, or if the item is not found in the catalog, let's do a free form request. I can come in here and do something as simple as maybe lawn service or cleaning service or advertising service or some type of labor where I'm going to actually look for a service for an amount. If it's a quantity I'm looking for, I can click item and it's going to give me a quantity and unit of measure. If I want to do a blanket order, I can come out and just specify a few little characters out here, and I can say, oh, that's who I want. I want Johnny's Lawn Service. He's the one that does my stuff, does a great job. Now I can default the commodity, or I can come in and I can select that commodity. So I can come in and specify if this is maintenance, if this is services, if this is facilities, and I can drive approval processes, I can drive reports, I can drive stuff off that commodity. I can come in and specify, well, it's going to cost me $500 to do this. I can attach any type of file. I can attach URLs and text at the requisition or at the header level. You'll see that throughout the system, and very flexible to be able to add images and documents to further define what you want. At this point, all I have to do is click Add to Cart. It's going to pop up a simple dialog, and it's going to show me what's in my cart. When I mouse off of that, I can continue on shopping. I can search, I can browse, I can do a free form write. I can also do things like order lists, predefined shopping lists. Subway uses this for replenishing direct spend, the bread, the cheeses across the globe. It allows people to select common items across different suppliers and different geographical areas very quickly. So here I set up an example where we have office supplies where we have 4 items. It could be 100. I've set up 2 ways to do this, where I can specify a default amount, or I can put 0 in there where they could just come in and say, I need 1 of these, 2 of these, 3 of these, and specify the amount they want. But what we have that Subway uses is a par level. I have 5 that are supposed to be on the shelf. Tell me how many you have. I've got 2. I've got 3. And they run down this list and actually take a cycle count once a week. And it automatically calculates the replenishment amount. And all I have to do is click Add to Cart, and I've easily added hundreds of items or 20 items or 5 items to my shopping cart, to my requisition in one shot. And then it comes back and shows me the requisition. I agree with that. I click Submit, and I'm done with that requisition. Very efficient, very functional, and it allows people to get in and out, do a cycle count all at the same time. So that is the process of an order list, a shopping list, a predefined inventory that you want to do repeat buys. It's great for office supplies, janitorial supplies, doctor's offices, or retail restaurants and supplies. Besides order lists, we also have catalogs. Those catalogs that are published in Coupa, we can go out and search and browse by, say, Granger, where we can come in and specify this catalog and look at all our items that we're contracted to purchase and the pricing. We also support tiered pricing. I can go out and specify multiple tiers of pricing to be able to use in specific items on a contract. So I can easily see that information. I can also drill into that. I can see that information here where I can say the quantity for what those bands are. I can see employee reviews, and I can see additional information. So again, very easy to be able to go out and browse by catalog. We also have web forms that allow you to collect additional information that we don't have to create custom fields on for the requisition. So a good example is a business card request where I come out and actually collect, when do you need this by? What is your name? I want to put my title on this, so I put that information out there. These forms are created by procurement. I really like to use the term we empower procurement to manage their own system and not stick IT with the maintenance and update of the system and configuration. I spent many years in IT, and I've been stuck with a lot of decisions that business people have made. So this is where we really empower procurement to manage their own system. Once this is installed and the integration's in place, we don't need IT to configure approvals and web forms and these types of things. We can do them ourselves with just a configuration process. So once I've filled out this information, I've got my default request information down here that may or may not be locked out, and where I can specify maybe just a quantity of items. I can attach specific information, photos or documents to further define what I'm looking for. When I click Save, it will save that additional information to the requisition. So when we review the cart, we'll see that information. So again, what I'm getting at here is we have multiple ways to easily select, search, find, and create requisition line items in a shopping cart type paradigm. I can always see that familiar cart bag up here at the top, that I can always drill into my cart and see what's in the cart and see what the total is on my cart. But guess what? When I submit requisitions, what's the next thing I want to do? What's the status? Is it shipped? Is it approved? Has a PO been cut? Well, you can see in recent orders down here exactly that. I can see the PO. I can see the request. I can see the status. It's been ordered. Well, if it's been ordered, then it's sitting there waiting for me to be received. So when I get it, I can do my own receipts and do a three-way match. Very efficient for doing three-way match. We've got the ability to look at my requests that are approving, that are pending approval, the ones that I'm working on that are in draft status. If I want to see all, I can look at my total spend history over the months, over the years, and maybe copy and clone the template order again and again. So I can see my history by just selecting View All. If I'm responsible for budgets and contracts, I want to push that out to my home screen so that I can see what my budget impact is. If I'm responsible for the IT budget in San Francisco, I want to see what that is at all times. So you can see I'm almost at the end of the quarter. I'm doing pretty good. I've got 65,000 on 100,000. If I want to drill into that, I can drill in to see the actual transactions against my budget. So again, very powerful to be able not just to see the status, but see what is impacting your budget. I hit the back key and I come right back to my home page, and it shows me the current status of the budget and the contracts. If I'm curious about certain contracts, I can specify alerts so that I can go out there and be alerted if we're at maybe 40%, 80%, whatever maximum spend, minimum spend on those contracts are. So again, being proactive and putting it up front so that we don't have contracts and budgets that expire or run out so that we get in trouble with the CFO. So again, very functional for the user, for the manager, all the same interface. If I'm not responsible for budgets and contracts, you just won't see this information out there. Also, every user will have a to-do list, things that require action from them. These are items out here. 3105 requires action. Confirm receipt 3064. This is a situation where we've requested something, an invoice has come in, and now it's time to receive it. So we send an email to the person and say, hey, did you receive this item? If we say yes, it creates a receipt, and now we have a three-way match scenario where we can pay the invoice. We also have the ability to look at disputes. And the key thing I like to show here is the fact that when I look at my inbox, it actually shows me the actual email that I would get on my mobile device. So when we're talking mobile integration, we can come in and take a look at items out here that need to be approved. So if I come out and look at an item that requires action, I was looking for one that might need to be approved, needs approval. Looks like I've done most of them. But these are actionable items where I can reject or approve or update that requisition on my mobile device. All the information is there, the budget, the spending, the information I need to really reject or approve. In fact, Salesforce.com CFO rejected over 14 million last year in requests just from his mobile device without having to log in. So when I go out and look at this information, it's actionable, it's done through my mobile device through email. Or if I have a web-enabled device, I can go right and look at it through my browser, which most mobile devices have. So again, all this information is out there on my spend history and my inbox, where I can go out and take a look at that information that I've done and stuff that needs my attention. So going back to the home screen to round this out is we support punch-out, where we can go out and take a look at items that are not on our catalog, but maybe on Office Depot, Dell, a supplier that provides us access to their website so that we can extract items from their punch-out and then bring them back into our shopping cart. That way what we can do is we can actually approve and run it through the Coupa approval process so that we can get the value of pre-approval instead of just going out to Amazon and buying something. So the way that works is we just click on something like CDW down here where the integrated punch-outs are listed for shopping online. We come out, we look for something like a keyboard. We find what we're looking for. We specify that we want to add it to the cart. And then we check out. And I can add multiple items, 2 or 3 or 4 items. When we get to the checkout, instead of really checking out and buying it on that site like I normally would, I want to transfer it to cart because this is a preferred contracted supplier, and so we're going to bring that item back into the shopping cart. You'll see that keyboard down here, and when this gets approved, CDW will get a PO for this keyboard to ship it to us, and we'll process it. So we don't have to buy it online. We can do it through our standard PO process. I can even go out there and say, oh, I've got a P card, a credit card, and buy it on my credit card. So again, lots of flexibility here. If I don't want to do all these things on this invoice, I can easily come through and select all these items. In fact, let me just select all of them and delete those. And it's going to clear my shopping cart, or I can specify clear cart. I can actually add items right from the shopping cart by typing right here, just like I would from the home screen. So we don't even have to go back to the home screen. I can select laptop right here, and I can add items right from the shopping cart. So now I don't have to do these type of things from the shopping cart. I've got multiple ways to do that. So when I search for something like laptop, the only thing is I only can select one item. What is an advantage at the search is I can select multiple items at a time. So here I'm going to search for laptop again, and I'm going to select the bag. And the reason I'm doing a bag in this desktop is because I want to show the default capability. I've selected an item that was not configured for a default type of chart of accounts. So you'll see that it's in red notifying me that, hey, I need to put this against a chart of accounts. If I don't and submit this, then the buyer is going to have to do it for me. So what I want to do is I want to come in, and I can use Smart Search by just typing in a few letters, and it's going to come in and specify maybe some IT, indirect, or whatever I want to pull up here. And you'll see once I select the valid account, the buyer disappears, and now I've got a budget out here for that account, so it's going to tell me what the impact of that budget is. So I can split bill, I can split line, I can select different accounts, I can do a lot of different things from a requester standpoint, or I can lock the user out and say, no, I'm going to take the defaults and I'm going to force the buyer or the approver to make sure that it's coded correctly to stop the user from having to have that complexity to select the right chart of accounts. And what we want to do at Coupa is we really want to default as much information as possible to make it easy. You'll also notice that I've got a situation down here where I've added this process where I've added an inventory check because I want to send it through inventory to make sure we don't have one of these in stock before we order a new one. Now I've set this up as a manual process, but I can easily take these items and remove them if it's configurable that way. Also, from a watcher standpoint, I've added a watcher. If I take that watcher out because I don't want that watcher, I can add other people to this chain. I can add somewhere like I can come in and say add Ellis, my marketing lead. I can add them to the start of my chain if I want to include somebody else in this process, or I can just delete them. What I can't do is change the default behavior of the system that has been pre-configured for me on the approval chain. And what we've got here is we've got the ability to do approval chains by hierarchy. We also have the ability to do custom approval chains. Right here, when I mouse over this, you'll see hierarchy approval. If I want to add a custom approval chain, I've set one up for IT sales where I can come in, and if I type in an item that is a IT item that defaults to commodity IT, I've set up a rule that says IT items must go through Kenny. So what happens now is Kenny needs to come in and approve this. When I mouse over this, you'll see that Kenny is in the process now. So we've aggregated multiple types of approvals. We can aggregate multiple rules. If I come in here and change something different, well, watch what happens here. If I come in and say, well, I'm going to order 100 of these, look what happens to the approval chain. Well, if you're going to buy 100, besides the fact that you just shot our budget all the heck, here we're going to come in and bring in Jacob, the purchasing manager, to do a sourcing event. So we go out and say, man, if you're going to buy 100, then I'm going to go out and do a sourcing event and get the best price because I can get a better price on quantity 100. So once that event is done, then it passes it through the approval chain as previously planned. But since this is over an X amount, it's going to bring in a lot more people to get this process approved. So again, we can support multiple types of approval chains, and we can bring that in an aggregate method. I'm going to delete that laptop, and you'll notice that all of my troubles go away, and now it's back to a simple requisition, and I click Submit, and I'm done. So what I've done is a simple requisition. You see the approval chain through there. I'm not going to go through all the details on that, but we can log in as Bill, and we can approve that process. I'm going to sign on since I'm an administrator, and I'm signed on, and I can see everything. You can see that there's requisitions out here that have been placed, and I'm going to go out there and look at stuff that is pending approval. And what I want you to notice is in this reporting process, I have a drop-down of reports that I can select from, and these reports are custom defined by me, not IT. So when I come out and create a certain view, I can create that view for me or for my team. And so what happens out here is, say for instance I want to come out to one that's called My Department. Well, if I'm just looking at My Department, I can modify this report. I can come out and just drag and drop these fields, add new fields by drag and drop, simply click these things and create new filters and conditions, add My Department and say Department is such and such, and bring that into information, say Finance. I can save this as a new report, or I can save it on top of the one that I'm messing with. So the next thing is once you have this report, I can always export it to an Excel file. I can schedule it to be sent to me every morning in a certain format, HTML, CSV, or PDF. And so very powerful to get data out of the system, whether it's requests, whether it's orders, whether it's invoices. So I have these predefined reports. I can use these from an accounts payable standpoint as work queues. I can look at all my specific vendors and look at all my invoices coming into the system and process and approve those accordingly and work from a workflow management process. So again, reports are there. We've got the orders out here. We can actually take action items on, where we can come out when we look at orders. We can flip those into invoices. We can get those invoices electronically through CXML, EDI, or we can manually create them in the system by just selecting this icon and flipping a PO into an invoice. When it comes to invoices themselves, we can create an invoice. If we get them in non-PO spend, we can create those invoices right here. We also have the ability to do inventory and receipts against those items. So anytime that we receive stuff, either centrally or a person receives them at their desk, they can do a receipt so that we can do two-way and three-way matching. We also support sourcing. If somebody requests something that is not in our catalog, a buyer can turn around and create a sourcing event where they request for quotes. And a quick example is here where Bob's requested some things. And so a request for quote was sent out to Dell Computers and Lenovo. The quotes came back and they awarded one to that request and then continued on with that request approval process. So sourcing is out there. Look for some more stuff coming in the next couple months in our releases where we're going to expand on those capabilities. We also talk about contract compliance. We have contracts out there so that we can monitor our spend and make sure that people are complying against those contracts. If I look at this master agreement for Grainger, I can see what my total spend is, all the POs, all the invoices, and my total savings for this contract. I can take a look at my master agreements that I've attached to this process. I can look at the content groups and see who can see this contract. I can set up my pricing terms, alerts, those things that drive it to my home page. These people here will have it on their home page to show what the status is of that contract. You can also drill into the different items that are assigned to this contract, such as ones that have tiered pricing. So again, that's contracts, being able to drill in and see compliance. When it comes to reports, we have three levels of reporting. One, we have the reporting that I talked to you about earlier with just looking at requests, orders, invoices, and inventory. The next thing is we have two-dimensional reports where we're looking at those transactions over time. And these reports here, you can drill into them, and guess what? They take you right back to the reports that we talked about before that we can export, further filter, schedule, take a look and drill down into these reports, take action on these items. These are raw reports that are actionable. I can hit the back key up here on my browser, and I can come back and continue looking at additional data and additional savings. Maybe I want to look at my budgets for a certain period and see what those are. If I want to drill into my purchase metrics, I can see this canned report that's showing me where I'm spending my money across commodities, across suppliers. I can drill into this and see all the orders against that supplier or against those services and that commodity. I can continue on looking at my expense metrics. Are we meeting our category spend? What vendors are we up against? Maybe liquidity, where we're looking at payment terms. Are we paying our invoices on time? Are we utilizing those payment terms and we're getting our discounts or we're losing money? Supplier performance, looking at the reviews on how suppliers are performing across the network. Maybe look at the top-rated suppliers from a social standpoint of our requesters, putting in comments and star ratings against those suppliers. Maybe looking at the deliveries and seeing who is delivering on time and who is not. One last benchmark we have is being able to compare yourself against other people using Coupa in the cloud. Since we are cloud-based, we have access to everybody's data. We can summarize that data and average that data, and what we see across the system, across the 300 customers, that the average time to approve a requisition is 16 hours. You can see in my demo instance, I'm not that good, so it's 6 days. So you can see I have room for improvement in all these areas that are red, and I'm beating the average on the areas that are green. This gives companies an extra look at how they're performing across the Coupa customers. In the future, we'll probably segment and slice this by industry so that we can get more of a granular approach to it. So that's two-dimensional reporting. Three-dimensional reporting goes into our spend optimizer, where we actually extract this data, and we extract it every 24 hours into our analytical tool. And here you can slice it and dice it by any dimension and multiple dimensions. So here you'll see an example of our KPI dashboard. We also have one on purchase orders, suppliers, invoices, commodities, and contracts. One of the most popular ones is to see where we're spending our money on and off contract to know when to rationalize our suppliers. What suppliers should we rationalize to? What commodities are we spending money on where we're buying it across a multitude of vendors? So again, I can drill down into the data. I can look at all of it by different sections, by locations. I can fine-tune it by any dimension in the system. I can even import custom fields and custom dimensions that we set up in Coupa to enhance this. I can actually create and modify it myself by selecting and editing this dashboard. You have the full capability to mix and match whatever components on these screens or create totally new components. So you have that ability within that tool. You can actually extract data from third-party systems and create some value add. So again, very flexible tool from analytics to be able to extract that data. It's all set up and ready to go. From the first week that you use Coupa, you can start getting these analytical reports to see where you're spending. It's very common for companies to implement Coupa quickly and see where their spend is, and then start figuring out where they need to rationalize and optimize their spend, because they need a benchmark to get started and they may not have that visibility. So Coupa provides that visibility. It provides the reporting so that we can see where our spend is and where we need to spend our effort. So again, that Spend Optimizer, the last quickie here is going to be expenses, where I'm going to just show quickly the expense module here, where you can see some expenses that I put out here. I've added some custom fields here. You can see audit scores. You can see where we integrate to Google Maps, where I can come in and actually take a look at maps where I can log my miles by looking at those maps. So here I can see all my approved ones. I can see my pending ones. I can recall the ones that are pending. You can see what the status of those are, what's required. You can see some flagging that goes on here. It's just a soft, subtle way to promote responsible spending, where we're at within our policies. The more over limits you get, the higher your audit score and the higher your chances for auditing to take a look at your expense report. We integrate not just to Google Maps, but also we can take pictures with our mobile phones and send them to ourselves so they show up in our wallet. We integrate to multiple credit cards, so if you have a company credit card, a personal credit card, we can pull transaction off of that. It integrates by just logging in. So a lot of simple integrations, and Omar and I use this ourselves for Coupa to do our own expense reports. So it's very flexible and it's very powerful, and if you'll notice, it has the same familiar approval process down here below, so that what we set up, we can set up approval chains just for expenses, just for invoices, or just for requisitions, so we have that flexibility. What I didn't show you today was also the customization, and I'm going to actually wrap up with that, where I'm going to go into setup, because when we talk about ease of use, it's not just the user front end. Let's take a look at custom fields. I'm going to go in, and you'll see I have some custom fields that are actually turned off right at the moment, and I've got field specs here. What I can do is I can create a field here by just dragging it over to the requisition. I can add them to any entity, requisitions, invoices, you name it. I can add it to any one. But here, I'm going to put in ISM contact. For whatever that means, I'm creating a custom field and I'm attaching it to the requisition header. I can do it at the detail line level. I can also at the same time, by clicking one button, add this same custom field to the purchase order header or the purchase order line. I'm just going to leave it at the requisition because I want to show you the flexibility in this. When I go into the requests and I bring up one of the current requests that are out there, or it could be a request that's in process. As long as it hasn't been submitted, you'll see the data out there, and you'll see that now it has ISM contact. So when I create a new request, and I come in and specify my laptop like I did before, and I select an item, and I review cart, you'll notice that that field is immediately available, where I can come in and I can specify my contact is Douglas. And so now I have a field that I can drive approvals off of, I can drive reporting off of, I can drive analytics off of, and it's a fully functional field that I've just added to the system. and I can add that at the header level, at the detail line level for requisitions, POs, invoices, suppliers, items, you name it. Any item in the system. So again, that's customization, configuration, the Coupa style, very easy, empowering procurement to be able to do their job. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up and turn it back over to Omar.
Thank you, Rusty. Do you guys have any questions from what you saw? Of course, it's a lot to digest. The idea here is just to give you an overall overview of Coupa. So if you guys don't have any questions more around the platform or any technical questions, please go ahead and fire away. If not, we can just go ahead and let Rusty go.
Hey, Omar or Rusty, where is the budget data imported into this? Is it cooperating with like MAS 500, or is this a standalone product?
Well, again, Coupa is a standalone product, and we can manually key in these budgets. We can load them from a file, or we can pull them from mass whatever, okay? From any external system, we can extract those budgets and bring them into Coupa. Whether it's QuickBooks or SAP, we can extract that, and we can manually do it. You'll see that throughout the process. I didn't show it here. From all master data to transactional data, we have these bulk loaders. And that's why I say we really don't need IT. If you know how to do an SQL and extract from your current system, you can bring it right into Coupa. And a lot of your financial types, they know how to extract their budgets from the current system, and they can extract it into an Excel file and then import it right here by doing this process. So either A, I'm going to manually do an import through a bulk load of budgets, or I'm going to make an integration and say go out to PeopleSoft or Mass or wherever my financial stuff is and extract those budgets.
Okay. And one of the things we've talked about with Coupa has been are starting to set up the integration. So obviously with Sage 500 being a SQL database, getting the information out is pretty easy. And then with Coupa, there are the integrations we can create for that. So.
Absolutely, and you probably have a list of your users in your financial system, and you'll see that throughout the system we have this load from file. And that load from file can be automated, where we can actually go out to an FTP, a secure FTP site, and pull that in daily, hourly, minutely, however often fast we need to, and update it so you don't have two sources of truth. And what we want to do is if this information lives in your software solution, then that's where we're going to pull it.
Okay, thanks.
So, Douglas, are you using Sage Mass 500? Is that it?
Yes.
Is that with the SQL, the MS SQL server database, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and Coupa uses MS SQL also. So that's what I'm saying. Most of your systems today, if they're worth their grain of salt, they have an input and output from a batch process.
Yeah, and also we have just on top of that from integration, we've got an open API from the integration standpoint, so we can point that out. It's all up in the web, and actually Rusty is covering that, integrate.coupa.com. Everything is published there on the different types of integrations.